Paul's first letter to the Corinthians makes for an interesting comparison to Romans. Both letters are long and exceptionally well organized, but whereas Romans reads like an intellectual treatise, 1 Corinthians is the most practical, down-to-earth of all Paul's compositions. Don't push that too far. There's plenty of theology in both letters, and Paul is always concerned with matters of everyday life. But in 1 Corinthians, he takes up numerous topics one by one, offering his advice and pastoral counsel. He knows the Corinthians especially well. He has spent a lot of time with them, and in general, they respect him. Now the church is having a lot of problems, and they have gotten a hold of Paul to see if he can sort things out for them. He gives it his best shot. One thing we learn when reading this letter is what kind of problems did churches have way back in the first century. People argued with each other and divided into groups. They argued about which leader to follow. They argued about how to worship, especially how to celebrate the Lord's Supper. They argued about speaking in tongues and other spiritual gifts. And they argued about morality, especially anything having to do with sex. Some of that might sound familiar, but one of the biggest arguments of all was over the question of eating food that had been offered to idols. Not really a hot-button issue in most churches today. Maybe that's because Paul did such a good job of sorting it out.